Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and this evening we'll be having a look at the latest GFS, GM, ECMWF and GFS ensembles. We'll be having a look at the next few weeks, and it is looking generally quite dry and cold for the next week or so, and there are some hints towards day 10 and the end of April, so sort of between day 10 and day 14, it's looking like things could start to get a bit warmer, with the chances of some quite pleasant conditions coming. So have a look at that towards the end of the video. Remember, if you do enjoy my videos, make sure you do like and subscribe. So currently we have a look at the latest GFS, and you can see we've got a big area of high pressure over the top of the country, which means for most areas it's been very dry and quite cold at night, but in the day when the sun does come out, it's felt pretty pleasant. Highs around between 10 to 12 degrees quite widely, maybe 13, 14 when you get more sunshine. I haven't seen, there are a few showers around, and a lot of people have said, oh, it's high pressure, shouldn't be showers, but there is a bit of vorticity within some of the levels of the atmosphere within this area of high pressure. So it does mean there are a few showers around, and tomorrow, especially in the east, as we run through, you can see we are closer in the east to this area of low pressure, so there is a chance of a few showers in sort of the southeast and eastern parts of England tomorrow afternoon, so watch out for that. But generally, it's quite dry, and the high pressure retrogresses up northwards and moves up towards sort of Iceland before going up towards Scandinavia, and we do start to pull in a bit of an easterly flow. Now, it's not a proper easterly wind, but generally air is going to be coming from the east, perhaps some weather fronts in the further north and west. You can see with the air masses, you can see actually warmer air is trying to come in off the Atlantic, so there could be some rain for the western parts of northwestern England. Elsewhere, we've got this sort of cooler air coming in off the North Sea, which means temperatures are going to be suppressed a little bit, especially towards the coast, where temperatures could be dropping only to around 7, 8, 9 degrees in the day. Again, if the sun does burn through any of that low cloud coming in off the North Sea, temperatures will rise, but it's too difficult to say at this stage exactly whether that cloud will burn away. Again, sometimes that's with sort of these low cloud situations coming off the North Sea. It's sort of a nowcast situation. But generally, still be quite cold at night, as we are under quite a cold air mass still. So yeah, still a few more frosts to come. Beyond that, that area of high pressure maintains to our north and our east. But you see the area of low pressure does sweep through, bringing in a cold front. We do see a temporary return to some colder air. Again, I won't expect any snow with that, maybe over the tops of mountains in Scotland. But it will allow colder air to come back in for an overnight frost as high pressure does build back in. Beyond that, the high pressure moves again to our north, but starts to build again from the south over the top of the UK, so generally quite dry, fine. And if we have a look at the air mass, it's not cold, but it's not warm either, so temperatures in the day maybe 13, 14, 15 degrees, by night maybe 4, 5, 6 degrees, so unlikely to be many overnight frost with that, but still will be a little bit chilly at night. So this is getting still in the 10-day time frame. So this is when we could start to bring some warmer air in. Now, this current GFS operational run doesn't actually do that. And if we run through it, you can see this high pressure moves towards Iceland and Greenland, and we do start to pull in northerly winds. Now, it's not a brutally cold northerly wind, but it's cold enough for a few wintry showers and overnight frosts. As we head towards the end of the run, we maintain sort of an easterly flow. But again, there's not too much cold air left, so it does start to bring milder air in by the end of the run. Now with this, it's all high pressure dominated with, again, a little bit of low pressure influence as with that colder air. But a subtle shift in that area of high pressure could start to bring up some very warm conditions from the south or southeast, or even from the southwest this time of year. Southwest can be quite warm. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, and you'll see by some of the ensemble members towards the end of the video, there are some other ensemble members, and quite considerable amount of ensemble members, going between 5 and 10 degrees at 150 HPA, which could be giving high teens or low 20s. So we'll now have a look at the GM, see how that compares to the GFS. As you can see, the high pressure over the top of the country at the moment, we move that up towards Scandinavia, we start to put in a bit of an easterly flow. Nothing too cold, but again, potential for overnight frost. Then that low starts to try and move through, but it's swamped out by the high quite quickly on this GM run, and you can see that cold front never really sinks too far southwards, so GM is a bit drier. As we head towards day 10, You see high pressure dominated over the top of the country, and we do, towards the end of the run, have quite a bit of warm air towards our south, as we do briefly start to bring in southeasterly winds. But towards the end of the run, we do start to put in a cooler north or northeasterly wind, very briefly, to northeastern areas, where it looks like that we would start to bring in warmer air again from the south. So the GM is a bit split there. It does show some warmer weather towards sort of day 7 to day 10, but it does show a slight colder period. But again, not too definitive, but generally, again, similar to the GFS, mainly high pressure dominated, so not a lot of rain, regardless of what the air mass is. Finally, we'll have a look at the ECMWF, and it hasn't done its full midday run yet, but we'll run through the midday run to 144 hours just to show what it's doing. And you can see that high pressure moves up to Scandinavia, pulling that easterly wind as we head to day 10. Again, high pressure builds in, not too much of that low pressure influence. So again, ECMWF is very similar to the GM, and not like the GFS. We now run through the midnight run. You can see that high pressure does try to ridge further northwards, but doesn't really make it too far northwards. And if we put the air masses on, you can see there is a go at having some northerly winds, but again, nothing too significant with those northerly winds, only really reaching northern parts of Scotland. You can see, though, a big warm pool of air just towards southern Europe and North Africa. Again, if we did see a scenario where we did start to put up southeasterly winds, we'd quickly draw in some quite warm air. So a subtle shift in the pattern could start to bring in some very warmer conditions, not heatwave-like, but generally around or above average conditions, which have eluded us recently. Finally, if we have a look at the ensemble chart, you can see we're generally quite cold at the moment, and for the next week or so we're going to be below average. Overnight frost will start to cut out as we head up to more around average, where the 850 HP temperatures get above freezing. It does look like overnight frost will cut out from then. Beyond that, in the longer term, it does look like generally will be around average, but there is a lot of scatter. You see a few ensemble members going colder. You can see that's GFS. That's when that area of low pressure tries to move through. Only a few ensemble members going for that. Most stay around average or above average. And then you can see towards the longer term, we have a few ensemble members going colder, and then a few ensemble members going much warmer as well. So it's very decisive at this stage. So although some of those operational runs, like the GFS and like the GM, did show brief northeasterly winds, and the East WWF showed it a little bit for Scotland, it's not a done deal. There are plenty of ensemble members going well above freezing at 850 HP, and some even going between 5 and 10 degrees, which could give some very warm conditions. And if we have a look at the 2 meter temperatures, you can see generally over the next week, maybe 9, 10 to sort of 11, 12 degrees highs. Beyond that, temperatures do rise up at 850 HP around average, so 14, 15 degree highs. No more overnight frost, but lows around 4 or 5 degrees. We're still under high pressure, so it does allow the heat to escape at night. And in the longer term, you can see big gaps in some of the ensembles. You can see some going for 20, maybe even 21, 22 degrees for highs, and some going for only 6, 7, 8 degrees for highs. Lows generally do but look well above freezing, so although some ensemble members are going a little bit cooler or around average, it does look like it won't be sufficient enough to bring overnight frosts. There is a signal for more precipitation, but again, it's very difficult to say whether that is a genuine sign of it changing to a bit more unsettled, or whether that's just a few ensemble members who are outliers at this stage. You see, though, the average is around 15, 16 degrees, so much warmer than it is currently. So regardless of what happens in the longer term, it does look like at this stage we'll be returning to at least average. But whether we can return temperatures to sort of what we saw at the end of March, where we saw high teens, maybe even low 20s, is yet to be seen at the moment, as I know a lot of people would enjoy a nice little heat wave, or at least just some warmer conditions towards the end of April. As at the moment, at least in England, we can only meet people legally outside in groups of 6. So these cold days of sort of 10, 11, 12 degrees, where if it's cloudy, it's feeling pretty chilly, and overnight temperatures drop away quite a lot. It is not particularly ideal for outdoor hospitality and meeting up too much. So hopefully this heat wave does come off, or at least a warm-up does come off, and potentially we could be seeing some quite warm conditions, and I'm hoping that we can see that. So anyway, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, subscribe new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.